Childhood and Youth Services staff in the Western Metropolitan Region have explored the use of video in their work through the Media Resource Development Project.
The flip video camera has been used by staff for documentation, review purposes, reflection. It's also been used as a diagnostic tool.
Things like the flip cameras and the iPads has been useful with being able to video a child and then compare that after you've implemented therapy or while you're implementing therapy. It's helped with our reviewing our own work as well as keeping tabs on how the child is progressing.
One of the tools I found particularly helpful in using when working with families has been the flip cameras.
My background is a speech pathologist, so I've been using them to film the feeding assessments that I've been doing.
I've been using them mostly when working with children with feeding difficulty.
It's a really valuable tool because I can reflect on it when I get back to the office, and I often see things that I'd missed when I was actually there in the moment.
For example, to film a child in their childcare setting or kinder setting where they might be presented with more challenging foods and feeding textures in comparison to home.
You know, sometimes the skills differ at home to the other community setting.
So it's been really helpful to be able to show the parents how their children are managing with a bit more of a challenge in terms of their feeding and their drinking.
They've all said that was really good to be able to see it rather than somebody just reporting, oh well they did that at childcare and that was great. Actually showing them.
That's something that we're keeping a record of, not only how the child's going, but it's really nice to look back at where they started as well and to show that to a wider variety of people who couldn't be there for the time we were doing the assessment or the recommendations. I've also been using the flip camera to film sessions with parents and sometimes small little groups, and often what I'm looking for is the parent-child interaction during that. And it also helps us not only to show the parent's strengths, but to highlight some areas where perhaps we could improve for next time. When I often brainstorm with the parent and get them involved, and they're taking some responsibility for determining how they're going to work over the next 2 weeks. So it's a really good tool for teamwork.
Staff have also been using flip video cameras to record children with additional needs.
He's kinder age and he has epilepsy, but he presents to hospital for appointments and he's never really shown the range of seizures that he's having that we've seen at home. The doctors, you know, it's all kind of secondary information from me or parents telling them what they think they're seeing or we think we're seeing, and they've never actually seen it themselves. So the flip camera was brilliant in that I just filmed him in his chair playing for half an hour, and I took a couple of different clips and kind of collated them, in which I thought he showed, you know, 3 or 4 different types of seizures. I bent them onto a DVD and took them up, hand delivered it to the neurologist, so I knew that they got it. And sure enough, they had a look at it and diagnosed him with this particular type of epilepsy. It's quite unusual to see the 4 different types of seizures that he was having combined. They readjusted his medications from what they saw in the video. It helped mum and dad kind of advocate for what they thought they were seeing, because it's very hard for, you know, a parent, even us as health professionals, to tell a neurologist who knows so much about what we think we're seeing, but we're not really sure, and so it was much more useful to give them, you know, hard evidence.
Children and Youth Services have also used video in-house to create informational and instructional videos to help reach a wider audience online. We also created some DVDs which went out to schools.
The other tool that we've used quite a bit in the partnerships team is the ability to be able to video, particularly we were videoing educators who were doing team teaching so that they were able to share their experience with other educators. We were able to take that footage and provide a resource that, alongside a PowerPoint, prompted educators to be able to explore team teaching. The team teaching element was critical because of the 15 hours, so it was something that was new to a lot of educators, and therefore there wasn't any resources around that described how it might work, particularly for kindergarten educators. It's also been turned into YouTube so that services will be able to easily access both the footage and the PowerPoint to help prompt reflection and discussion amongst staff teams.
We would normally spend hours at the end of every school year going to transition talks at as many schools as we possibly can. This year, with our workload, we won't be doing transition talks because we physically won't have the time. This DVD explains to parents and teachers at schools what is necessary to be done before the child, or what should be done before the child starts primary school. So, you know, going to the optometrist, dental checks, getting their hearing tested, and learning things like tying shoelaces, putting on their school bag, labelling their clothing, and all those things that we would normally discuss at transition talks. But the fact that they've got a DVD explaining what they need to do and what they should be doing before their children start school has been fabulous.